going into our first game of this best of 5 set between second team and Legio Lepidoptera Leviathan. First off, for red, we have the alien dragonfly, a Shrike with Gatling Hwacha on either side. Their ally is Victor Corsaro, which is a terrible name, but this is the new ship added in this week's patch. As you can see, it has one heavy weapon on the front, Lumberjack, light and heavy weapon pairs on the left and right side, which on the left is a Gatling Heavy Carronade, and on the right is a Gatling Hwacha. And there's a rear gun as well, which in this case is a Harpoon Javelin. Now, for their opponents, Legio Lepidoptera Leviathan, we see the Bamboozle Moth Judgment we've seen many times these past couple weeks. Gatling Lumberjack on the front, right side, Mortar and Hwacha. And their ally, the GFA Flying Flounder, Mobula with 2 Gatlings, 2 Artemis, and a light flak. Flying Flounder here opting not to bring any long-range piercing. And taking a look here, we do have charged ammo for their primary Gatling gunner, but no Lesmok, so Flying Flounder are going to be heavily relying on the Artemis shots to do any damage on their opponent's approach. Not going to have any long-range piercing. And looks like red second team here has already pushed heavily into blue's spawn zone, winning the Lumberjack war so far as Flying Flounder's balloon does go down. Alien Dragonfly, with the balloon on the Mobula down, has taken this opportunity to go, and seems target's going to be the Bamboozle Moth. Let's see if the Hwacha stays up long enough. Gatling targeting the Hwacha. It does go off, takes down the Lumberjack and the Gatling of the Bamboozle Moth as the Corsaro moves in. I think we're going to have a dual focus here in a moment as the armor goes down on the Blue Judgment. Corsaro currently Lumberjack focusing the Flying Flounder. I think once they get into arc here, we're going to see a right side Hwacha hitting the Bamboozle Moth, and they do. Great dual focus from second team, erasing most of the Judgment's permanent health and all of their components as well. As the armor breaks again, Hwacha, do we have Hwacha here? No, but a lot of Gatlings hitting the Bamboozle Moth there are able to get the armor up back in time before they do finally succumb to the fire of the Victor Corsaro. Now Flying Flounder losing their balloon once again to the Lumberjack. Probably going to be dying here in short order. Unfortunately, once the Mobula loses their altitude, once the balloon goes down, they're going to lose most of their firepower because they are relying heavily on the dual Artemis. This Corsaro crushes them into the floor of the map. The Artemis does not have very good upward arcs, so once the Mobula loses altitude advantage, it's going to have a hard time dissuading a target, an enemy ship, from smashing them. So while we wait for Legio Lepidoptera to respawn, red team still very heavily embedded on their side of the map. Take a closer look at the Corsair. As I said earlier, this is the new ship that has just been moved over from PvE to PvP mode. This is the first week it's been available for competitive play. And so far what I've heard is that this ship is very strong. I'm gonna checking something real quick here. Windows update. Okay. The Corsair both has very high close range mobility and is very tanky and has a lot of guns, so there's some concerns. Maybe the strength of the ship is a bit too much. It doesn't, it's the first week, so we haven't necessarily sussed out all the weaknesses of the Corsair, but it has 3 heavy weapons. It has very fast forward and turning acceleration, fast balloon acceleration, and the 600-1200 armor health split. So it's kind of, the numbers are pretty much good in every vector. And I suspect, at least in the coming weeks, we're going to be seeing a lot of this ship. Also, the way the components are set up, it's very easy to repair. It's just the Corsair really has the potential to be a competitive monster. Now, as blue team has, they did take the close spawns, immediately engaging on second team. And Lumberjack doing a great job taking down these ships' balloons. You saw Bamboozle Moth already sunk to the bottom of the map, Flying Flounder's balloon going down next. Victor Corsair having a lot more of an impact with their Lumberjack than the Bamboozle Moth is. And Alien Dragonfly moving in to capitalize, but they take a Hwacha for their troubles from the Bamboozle Moth, and now Gatling Mortar with the Gatlings of the Flying Flounder and Light Flak, taking down the Red Shrike. First point on the board for Triple L. And now all Bamboozle Moth needs to do is tank this next volley, and Lepidoptera is going to have a great dual focus on the Red Corsair. Because second team has taken this very aggressive forward position, it means there's not going to be any reinforcements spawning back in. I suspect this will be a second point for Lepidoptera. As we see the balloon blocking a lot of that incoming Gatling fire. So I'll be curious to see if the crew of the Victor Corsair decides to try to tank through this. Because that balloon, you see, the balloon is blocking a lot of that incoming fire. Very little of the Gatling is going into the hull armor. It hasn't even gone down. They haven't got one armor break yet. And already Alien Dragonfly, taking the east spawn, has charged back in here. So blue team just unable to capitalize the balloon block from Victor Corsair. From the balloon, the balloon of the ship of the Corsair is excellent for blocking downward fire. Now, Bamboozle Moth did finally get an armor break on the Victor Corsair, taking about half their health in the process, so while they didn't get a kill, they did do some damage, as the Alien Dragonfly tries to be a distraction to give their ally a little bit of time to rebuild, regain some altitude. Flying Flounder going for a tar on Victor Corsair. I was a little curious what they were flying past the Corsairs, flying right into their gun arcs, getting that tar, but not able to actually take down any components. So I'm not sure that was the best decision, as Victor Corsair retaliates with a forward bump into the terrain. Now is Bamboozle Moth. Bamboozle Moth does have Gat Mortar on the front of their ship, so if they get an armor break, they have the potential to get a kill, but they need to keep their guns up in the face of the Alien Dragonfly's Hwachas. Dragonfly fires the left side, trying to switch to right side here, but Bamboozle Moth able to counter with a Hwacha of their own. So Alien Dragonfly pretty disabled here, and fight still taking place in blue spawn, as we see Flying Flounder spawning back in at point blank. Victor Corsair smartly refocusing their right side Hwacha on the newly spawned Flying Flounder, taking down both the Gatling guns, and potentially switching to a dual focus on the Bamboozle Moth. Oh, this might be it for the Red Corsair. God, it's so hard to shoot past that balloon. It's so fat. But I think Flying Flounder is eventually going to take him down. Oop, taking a little bit of a bump as they try to... Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Victor Corsair charging forward. Flying Flounder trying to hydrogening out. Almost a very bad situation there. Corsair almost able to get a ram kill on the Mobula. The balloon of the Corsair just extends forward so much that the Flying Flounder almost had to drop to the very bottom of the map just to be able to get their Gatlings in arc. Almost dying in the process, but they might die here, so they're taking a lot of damage from the terrain. An Alien Dragonfly going for a ram, but the Mobula is already dead, losing their armor instead, as the Bamboozle Moth comes in from behind. I think Shrike's probably going to be able to escape here, being much faster than the Judgment. Lepidoptera definitely losing in that spawn parade that took place during that fight, as we now have second team on game point here. next kill, if it goes to red, will decide the match. Will decide the game. And this is your very... What second team is bringing here is a very standard composition style, which is pairing a slow, high damage, high gun count ship, tanky ship, with a fast ship. And what this allows is the Victor Corsaro can utilize its powerful heavy weapons like the Lumberjack to take an enemy ship out of the fight. Once you knock down their balloon, they kind of drift away from their ally. And once they've isolated the other enemy ship, then the fast ship, which in this case is the Alien Dragonfly, can just go for the isolated target. It's a very effective strategy that we've seen a lot of teams utilize. These pretty much as long as SCS has existed. Now, the red team staying near this wall for defensive cover. As Hwacha barrages come out, Bamboozle Moth gets a better connection, knocking out the engines of the Alien Dragonfly. As a result, Shrike tries to drop down behind cover to get some rebuilds, but this means dual focus on the Victor Corsaro. Although once again the Victor Corsaro getting a little bit more consistent Lumberjack shots, which is really helping their team. As Alien Dragonfly able to get the rear of the Mobula, but Bamboozle Moth's coming in from behind. Another good tar from the Flying Flounder is going to be enough to keep them alive. They're taking Lumberjack shots from the Victor Corsaro, dropping down. They definitely do not want to hit this red ship. And it looks like Victor Corsaro wants to keep their Lumberjack in arc, as they are reversing, and the tar is just going wild here, hitting both the Alien Dragonfly and the Bamboozle Moth. Dragonfly took a lot of damage in that exchange. Next armor break for the Red Shrike could do it, and it looks like Flying Flounder going to try to rise away from the Corsaro back into their own tar so that they can help their ally with the Shrike. They're in Gatling kill range as the Shrike does go down. Now, this time, is Blue Team going to be able to capitalize? How much damage is this balloon going to block? We do have a hull break. No explosive damage. Bamboozle Moth going to need to bring the mortars. Flying Flounder going for a tar for some reason. I don't think it's going to stop. The tar will not stop a charging ship. But Victor Corsaro actually hitting one of the buildings on their way in, which slows their charge just enough for Flying Flounder pop up above them. And now Bamboozle Moth going to be able to gauge their mortars. Flying Flounder, Light Flax, and they do get the kill. Lepidoptera tying up the score now on red side of the map. So Lepidoptera are going to have to be careful here, because it's possible that second team can spawn on either side, either east or west of their position. And both these blue ships are not fast turners, so second team can definitely abuse that fact, if they're smart about it. Okay, Victor Corsaro spawning to the west, taking a far spawn protected behind terrain. Alien Dragonfly as well, so not going to have any ambush spawn tactics here from second team. As we kind of have a reset back to a neutral state of play. There's this cloud here, so it'll be a hot minute before second team actually knows where Lepidoptera's movements are. However, Lepidoptera, if they have a good knowledge of this map, they should know where second team is currently located, because the other two spawn points are visible from their location. It's only this west spawn that's obscured by clouds. So they should have a good idea of where their opponents are coming from. As second team very tepidly moves forward. Bot going down. Both teams aware of their opponent's positioning. First, okay, simultaneous balloon pops on the Victor Corsaro and the Flying Flounder. Alien Dragonfly moving forward. They have to be a little bit careful because Victor Corsaro potentially going to drop behind the terrain if they lose their balloon again. Meaning the Shrike will be isolated for their ally, but it seems like Alien Dragonfly just bombasting the Flying Flounder, taking away 80% perma-hull in the first volley. And now the Watchers trying to take down the guns, eventually taking down the ship, and that's the first game going in the favor of second team. Game 2 between the second team and Lepidoptera Leviathan. First off, for red, we have the Victor Corsaro. This Corsair bringing Lumberjack on the front, left side Banshee Heavy Carronade, right side Gatling Hwacha. Their ally, the Alien Dragonfly, bringing Hwacha on either side of this Shrike. For their opponents, Lepidoptera, we have the GFA Flying Flounder, dual Gats paired with dual Artemis and Light Flak. And their ally, the Bamboozle Moth, Lumberjack, Gatling Mortar, and a Hwacha. As blue charging directly towards red side of the map. Looks like target is the Victor Corsaro. 3 Gatlings attempting to break the armor of the Corsair. They do get the first armor break, but the Corsaro rebuilds quickly, continuing to back up, trying to get some Lumberjack shots here. As the Alien Dragonfly does what they can to try to disrupt Lepidoptera's forward charge, and they do get armor break on the Flying Flounder, armor break on the Bamboozle Moth as Flying Flounder's balloon goes down to the Lumberjack, allowing Victor Corsaro to charge past them. Now, neither of these blue ships have arc on any of their opponents, as the Flying Flounder very slowly turning their Gatling back to the Victor Corsaro, as Alien Dragonfly focuses on the Bamboozle Moth. Dual Gatlings here. Engaging. Armor break. Where's the Light Flak? Where's the Artemis? Big explosive hits, but another fast rebuild for the Corsair, keeping them alive just barely. As Alien Dragonfly able to get a solo kill on the opposing Judgment. At the same time, Corsair does go down. So now Alien Dragonfly probably going to be able to pick up the second point on the Mobula. Strike can pretty easily outmaneuver the mob's slow turning. Well, I think Shrike trying to bump the Mobula down into the ground, instead dying to the Flying Flounder's hull armor. A little bit of a surprise turnaround, granting Flying Flounder a little bit of life here as the Corsaro spawns back in. Shrike will probably spawn behind them, taking this what do we call this? Behind the mountain. And they do. So while the Flying Flounder did get that upward ram on the Shrike, probably going to die here, and the Alien Dragonfly doesn't even need to engage. Victor Corsaro able to finish off the damaged Mobula, tying up the score. And I think that I believe the first ship to die was the Judgment. Just barely. That means in the event that this game does hit the time limit with a tie score, it does mean second team, the red, they do have the first kill advantage. So that's something to keep in mind depending on how quickly or slowly this game does progress if we start getting close to the time limit expiring here, as both blue ships taking the center spawn points for their team, opting not to go for the cathedral spawn. They want to go straight back into it. They want blood, as already Bamboozle Moth does get spotted, and Lumberjack's going to start raining in from the Victor Corsaro. Balloon already going down. Very fast balloon pop. This is not what Lepidoptera wants. And you see the downward movement of the Bamboozle Moth, causing some of their own Lumberjack shots to miss. So they themselves going to have difficulty taking down the Victor's balloon as GFA Flying Flounder moves in. Seems like, once again, dual focus. They're trying to ignore the Dragonfly, and this tactic, I don't know. It didn't work. It really worked last time, but we'll see if it works here. As we do have an armor break on the Victor Corsaro, are we going to have any explosive damage from the Mobula? Not yet. Looks like looks like an Artemis maybe going into the Corsaro's balloon. And this is a repeat of the same situation with Alien Dragonfly just coming in from the rear of like the Lepidoptera, knocking off 50% permahull of the Flying Flounder. Flounder is able to dodge downward a little bit. By dodge downward, I mean lose their balloon. And, well, they do get a kill on the Corsair, but Mobula perishes in the process, so similar to the situation, it's pretty much, I feel like, it's almost like Groundhog Day here, except this time Judgment living instead of Mobula. And I suspect Alien Dragonfly going to be a little bit more careful with their positioning here, because this should be an easy kill for second team, assuming they don't screw it up. So far, so good. Victor Corsaro spawning back in. Watch it from the Alien Dragonfly. Good connection on the Bamboozle Moth, taking down Gatling Mortar and the Lumberjack, but Watch is still up. They're able to disable the Alien Dragonfly, but this is just as the Victor Corsaro engages their guns on the Judgment. Armor goes down. Watch it hitting exposed hull. That's going to be a 4th point for second team. And you saw the Mobula there. They're pushing forward a little bit, but I think they were pretty well aware that they were ready to halt their forward charge in the event that their ally did die. So they're going to back off, wait for the Judgment to respawn. And I really do not think the strategy that Legio Lepidoptera has been employing, which is just to focus entirely on the Corsair, has not really been working. I mean, I guess it kind of had. They've been able to kill the Corsair twice, but the problem is they're losing their own ships in the process, and because they are charging across the map, the remaining ship ends up in red spawn. So even though they kill the Corsair respawns fast enough to kill them before they're able to kill the Shrike. So ultimately the math just doesn't work out in their favor. Now Bamboozle Moth has a good angle on the Corsair. If we can maybe get some Lumberjack shots. Hitting the Victor Corsaro. No. Judgment ignoring the Corsair, going for the Shrike instead, which means they're going to be taking a Watch of Barrage. But they do disable the Alien Dragonfly, and here's an armor break. Dual focus from Legio Lepidoptera. Light Flax coming out. I think 2 connections there. 40% permahull on the Dragonfly is gone. Lumberjack taking down the Bamboozle Moth's balloon. So Judgment drifting out of this fight. This is second team's time to capitalize here. Alien Dragonfly got to stay alive. Got to get a kill on this Mobula before the Bamboozle Moth is able to rejoin. Because Alien Dragonfly is weak and the armor goes down. Artemis shots. Are we going to get some explosive? Not much. I think we had one secondary damage hit from an Artemis. And second team unable to get that kill now. Lumberjack coming back into effect from the Bamboozle Moth, forcing Alien Dragonfly to refocus. Legio Lepidoptera switching focus to the Victor Corsaro. Watch of Barrage hitting the rear of the Bamboozle Moth. Looks like taking down the Lumberjack. Armor break, dual focus from red. Are they going to be able to kill the Judgment? Gatling's coming out. Bamboozle Moth now. Those were good Watch It connections. Bamboozle Moth in Gatling kill range. And second team is able to get the 5th point, which puts a second game on their tally. And all they need is one more map win to take today's tournament. Here we go into the 3rd and potentially last game of our best of 5 set between Second team and Legio Lepidoptera Leviathan. First off for red, we have once again the Victor Corsaro, Lumberjack on the front left side, Banshee Heavy Carronade right side, Gatling Hwacha. Their ally, the Alien Dragonfly, bringing 2 pairs of Gatling with Hwacha. Their opponents, we had the GFA Narwhal, Hwacha Goldfish, Light Carronade on the left, Gatling on the right. And finally their ally, Bamboozle Moth, Lumberjack, Gatling Mortar, and Hwacha on this judgment with, I believe, a rear Javelin Harpoon. So, Legio Lepidoptera changing it up a bit, realizing that the Mobula has maybe exposed their team formation a little bit too much, excuse me. You saw in the previous game on Northern Fjords that every time Legio Lepidoptera charged forward, they just effectively left their Mobula for dead. Alien Dragonfly was able to strafe behind and pick up a free kill every single time. So we'll see how the switch to the Goldfish works out for them. It does give them access to another Hwacha. They give up the dual Artemis, but they do get a little bit more close range to disable. As Narwhal, first target, going to be the Alien Dragonfly. Alien Dragonfly, in the meantime, tries to get a connection on the Bamboozle Moth, but they're a little far away. Now, Narwhal going to be forcing the Dragonfly to disengage, or rather, move closer to the Bamboozle Moth. And this time we see the first Lumberjack, first balloon pop, going down on the Victor Corsaro. But Alien Dragonfly is behind the Bamboozle Moth, ready to assist them as the Corsaro loses their hull armor. Good Hwacha connection, point blank, taking down 2 engines and the Manticore of the Bamboozle Moth. So Bamboozle Moth's close range disable is nerfed. Armor is down, some explosive damage here. Victor Corsaro moving up. Heavy Carronade of the Victor Corsaro able to knock out Bamboozle Moth's balloon. And now Narwhal just in time to receive a hull break of their own. But no explosive follow-up. Only the Banshee on the right side of the Victor Corsaro. Oh, I'm sorry, I think Banshee's actually on the left side. The Heavy Carronade. As all the ships just kind of bouncing together. Red team, second team, able to cobble together a dual focus amidst all the chaos, getting a fast kill on the Bamboozle Moth. And now Narwhal pretty much completely disabled the Dragonfly, but I don't think they can really hope to get a kill here. Probably want to use the opportunity to try and escape, but they're looks like they're not even going to try, just dropping into the terrain. They lost their balloon, which would make the escape a little bit more difficult. Maybe realizing that they're just not going to be able to outrun the strike. Although I would have thought the Narwhal got pretty much the best Hwacha connection you could possibly hope for on the Dragonfly, so I feel like they maybe had an opportunity where they could have gotten away. However, that means 2 points on the board for second team, and they are currently pushing forward towards blue side of the map. They want a spot here. They want to close out this game and close out this tournament. And I do not think they're going to be able to find the Bamboozle Moth before the Goldfish respawns, as fish should be coming in here. Yeah, there's the GFA Narwhal. And this spiked rock is where we do see a lot of engagements on this map taking place, because it's kind of on the edge of the mountain range, and it's very close to one of Blue's spawn points. And it because of the way it's kind of, I don't know, ribbed is not the right word, but the way it's kind of got these sub spikes. It can be utilized by both barrage side and forward gun ships can utilize it for defensive cover. Now, as once again Alien Dragonfly has the rear of the slower of the 2 blue ships, Gatling engaging the Bamboozle Moth as Narwhal switches focus to the Alien Dragonfly, as Dragonfly dodging downward. Narwhal switching focus to the Corsaro, it seems. The second team's able to get an armor break on the Bamboozle Moth. Narwhal wants to get a watch-it connection on the Victor Corsaro, but Dragonfly is saying no, so instead Narwhal switching back to the Shrike. Not able to get any, I think one gun disable. I think takes down one of the Gatlings. Man, this feels like Stormbreaker, watch a Stormbreaker metagame without any Stormbreakers. We still have 4 ships with watches on them without any Stormbreakers in the match. How is this fair? How is this fair for me? Narwhal losing some hull here. Victor Corsaro taking a lot of damage from the Bamboozle Moth as the mortar hits exposed hull and now hitting rebuilt hull, pushing the Victor Corsaro back. This is not what the Corsair wants to do. This is maybe the one weakness, maybe the primary weakness of the Corsair, is that if the Corsair, I think the blue team's going to be able to get a kill here. They're trying to smash him into the ground, but the armor is up, just broken, and they do go down. Blue team, Lucky Lepidoptera, taking control of the situation. Dragonfly with some Gatling gun, not able to take down the Lumberjack. And they're going to fly away. They don't want any part of this. There's no... I would be very surprised if they stayed and tried to kill the Judgment. No, they're hydrogen, they're flying away. So there was an interesting aspect of that fight. Lucky Lepidoptera managed to force the Corsair into a situation where it had to reverse away to try to stay safe. And I'm not sure if they were reversing away because they're afraid they're going to get smashed into the ground or what. But because the Corsair only has one forward-facing gun, and in this case, second team opting to bring Lumberjack so they can get some balloon pops during the initiation of a fight, it means that if the Corsair is forced into, the Victor Corsaro specifically, is forced into a situation where they're reversing away from their opponents, they have very, very minimal damage output. So that's something to keep in mind in these coming weeks as we see more teams maybe putting the Corsair through its paces. Because once again, on paper, I talked about it a little bit during the first game, but the Corsair seems very strong from a numbers perspective. It has a lot of close range mobility, a lot of armor health. Very easy to repair, but so it's... I suspect we'll be seeing a lot of Corsairs, and it's going to be the teams that are able to identify the weaknesses of the new ship are going to have a strong position in these in upcoming tournaments now, as Narwhal has been isolated. Bamboozle Moth's balloon is down. Narwhal is dead. Second team able to capitalize very quickly. And now Bamboozle Moth left here without an ally. Are they going to be able to tank through this? Lumberjack shots coming out. They're trying to get the balloon pop on the Victor Corsaro, and they do. They're slowly reversing away, trying to put a little bit of space between them and the Corsaro. But Alien Dragonfly, good watch-it connection. Narwhal has spawned back in. They've taken the closest spawn, but it is about 1,000 meters away, so it's going to be a little bit of time before the Goldfish is able to help their ally, and Bamboozle Moth already taking permanent damage. Gatling from the Victor Corsaro. Hwacha as well. They might be dying here. Judgment does go down. Game point, match point, tournament point, or second team, as the Narwhal, they have to sneak away and wait for their ally to respawn. Seems like the Goldfish is just unable to keep up with the firepower and the mobility of the Alien Dragonfly. As we do have both teams resetting back to a neutral state. Looks like Lepidoptera is going to be taking a more defensive stance here, using some of this terrain to block incoming fire. As you saw one Lumberjack hit the Goldfish forcing it to duck behind the mountain. Two engines down on the Shrike. Goldfish looks like going to try to use their right side Gatling perhaps, or just switching focus to the Victor Corsaro. But they've taken a Watcher barrage of their own as their ally Bamboozle Moth currently losing Lumberjack War, but not by much as the Corsaro's balloon does go down as well. Both these big ships seems going to be focused on each other as the Alien Dragonfly keeps the Narwhal in check. Perhaps second team is confident that the Victor Corsaro can win the 1v1, but I'm not sure that if that's going to be the case here, especially as once again you see a situation where Victor Corsaro is reversing away from their target, maybe just confident that they're going to be able to lumber their opponents, which at least for the moment seems to be the case. And we'll switch back to the Hwacha duel here in the rear. Gatling coming out from the Alien Dragonfly, trying to disable the Hwacha of the Narwhal. It looks like Hwacha is actually already disabled. Narwhal's crew going with a delayed rebuild on the front gun. Here's an armor break from Alien Dragonfly. Hwacha helped take down the hull, so Alien Dragonfly is going to try to switch sides here. Dodging around, trying to stay outside the Narwhal's hit range, and they're able to dodge long enough to reload the Hwacha to get another hit. Narwhal just unable to deal. The Alien Dragonfly is just literally flying circles around them. They can't get anything going. Moonshine on this Shrike, for those who may be interested. And finally, Narwhal does get a Hwacha connection, but not able to take down any of the Dragonfly's engines. This is not going to help in the mobility fight. And this is kind of an interesting situation because normally when you have the ships split up like this, the slow ships fighting and the fast ships fighting, one of the fast ships will get once lands a solid Hwacha connection, and then immediately disengages, speeds away to get a dual focus on the enemy ally ship. But in this case, neither the Goldfish or the Shrike seem willing to leave this fight. They want to win the 1v1 duel. And looks like Dragonfly might be able to do it. Hwacha just barely not able to kill the Goldfish. Goldfish needs to... I don't think they could really... They cannot sustain in this fight. Next armor break is going to be it, and that might be the killing blows. The Hwacha comes in. Gatling. Hwacha just barely is... Once again, the Hwacha just barely finishes as the hull breaks. You got to get out of here, Goldfish. Is that going to be it? No. Mallet hit, keeping them alive. 7 stacks of fire. Narwhal reversing away. I think, yeah, that's going to be it. As Shrike finally able to take down the Goldfish, meaning that 3-0. Second team, this collaboration between Skyborn and the Thralls are your SCS number 204 champions.